presenting the floor. Okay.
Two supplies here.
So moving forward for the last technical session of the day, we are having discussion on the topic precautions to be taken to avoid disputes. Madhukar sir will be presenting on it with regarding to correspondence with departments, tax clauses in the agreements, opinions under indirect tax and its relevance, disclosure in the invoices and supporting documents, internal control testing from GST perspective and data analysis case study under GST, health of an assessee. So to briefly introduce about Madhukar sir, by qualification is BCom, FCA, DISA and is also completed CISA. Senior partner at Hiregange and Associates having offices in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Visakhapatnam, Mumbai and Pune. He has jointly authored 16 books on central excise, service tax, Karnataka VAT excise, service tax audit, IDT IPCC study material, handbook on CST and GST primer. Mr. Hiregange has been active in the field of spreading awareness through seminars and articles, has been a visiting faculty at various professional and management institutes, including IIM Bangalore. He has been active in online replies on several professional sites. He was Central Council member during the year 2010 to 30 and also presently 2016 to 19 term. He is involved in efforts to make indirect tax laws in India very simple, and also is Empowered Education Foundation Managing Trustee, sponsoring more than 100 plus lesser privileged students in Bangalore. Big round of applause for this. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have eaten a little into Venu's time. So if you have any questions, even if it is 10-15 minutes, I think the topic which he has taken is specific. You won't get answers for that. What I am going to tell you is some wisdom, nothing to do with the specific law. So if you have any questions, I think Venu will answer them. You can ask the questions so that he can do that. Of course, he said he will stay here till the end because this is a little adjusted session. Tomorrow I am going to Chennai. I had given commitment to Bangalore and Chennai. These type of things happen in my life. So then I asked him to adjust a little and he said okay. So can any of you have any questions? He will take it now. Or it was too heavy, all that. He went a little fast I think. Maybe when you work out you will have some problems. At that time he may charge you some fees. Here it's all free. Okay, there are no questions, then I will take it and maybe in the end, if you all are still around, we can ask questions to both of us. Anything technical, I am not going to answer, only he will answer, otherwise we have a lot of other faculties here who know a little more about GST than me. Some basic thought process on few things which I heard Venu talking about is that this reconciliation is the key for all our work, whether it's value addition work or whether it's the statutory work. Reconciliation is the key, and that's where we will make the difference. And that's where you will find that other STPs, ITPs who are all trying to get into this area, they will be out of sorts. In fact, I think the ITP Association, they have asked me, and they want to learn GST in 3 days. I have given them a format which only takes care of all the procedures, and they will be limited by that. Of course, we are also going to give them the reconciliation. After I saw all the work he has done, I thought straight away we will call him as a speaker and ask him to contribute all this into that material. Anyway, I thought of both of them at that time also, but I don't know Venu has time or not. Venu has been one of our, you can say, finds in Bangalore. We had the architect of your BGM, that blue book which you are carrying, the architect is Venkatramani, who closed his office for almost a month. Not only he stopped working, he made another 4 people stop working. And when I visited them in between, then Devraj called me and told me, when are you going to allow me to open my office? I said, your office is open. He said, no, I am not allowed to enter that room. only you can enter. That room, war room it was called, when they were doing this GST. After that, Jatin helped a lot, and I was thinking there can be nobody better than that. Now Venu has come. And you know what is the difference? I'll tell you now. We are a large firm, we have about 60 chartered accountants working for us across India. And I am telling them, none of you is even 20% of Venu, because he has technology read with the knowledge. We have all knowledgeable fellows. Technology, zero. I told them to do DISA, I told them data analytics. Finally, I went for IIM course on data analytics, which I don't understand Excel itself. Where I will understand data analytics. Anyway, I came to know it's very important. That's what I came to know. Paid a lot of money for it. a lakh of rupees to come to know it's important. I'm sure if Venu goes for that class, he will be the star of that particular one. Anyway, the BGM which you have got is one of the wonderful material available in GST. There is nothing better in the market. We have also written some 3 books and another 2 are going to come. But let me tell you, none of those books are equal to this book. And we have also got an update ready in the last thing. I think all of you got a mass mail also on the update. So my suggestion is take the BGM, soft copy is available on our site. Take this soft copy, put them into one file. So when you do the searching for terms, agent, 72 places it will show. Aggregate turnover will show in some 32 places. You read everything and you can do things much better. That's what I am doing now. I am not using our book, sits on the table and I use the BGM. Sits on the table for the client. इसको भी कुछ मालूम है. In fact, when Venu was talking about reconciliation, he said, "Oh, very simple, ERP calibration, very simple." Let me tell you, there is no simplicity in ERP and GST. Not more than 1% of companies who are using ERP are GST compliant. That means you have 99% opportunity. You agree with me? Yeah. But he said it's quite simple. You just do this. Nothing is simple in that. And some of us with grey hair, we don't even understand where that dump is coming from. We may be using some last year's dump also. So I think one issue which he was talking about, which I want to take it little further. How many of you are actually filing GST returns? You or in your office? So almost everybody. Let me tell you again. Please don't. You know that I am straight talking person. Most of you are opening yourself for disciplinary action. Most of you, 90%. In this form, more than 100%, you will get disciplinary action against you because of some common errors all of us are doing. Even in my office it happens. First common error, we do not get the adequate information. We are only uploading the return. If we have to upload the return, a BCom is enough. Why it requires a chartered accountant knowledge of GST? Client is giving information only by 19th evening. I have sent it to you, please upload. Now what you are going to do with it? Simply take it or upload it. Then what? Where is your professional duty gone? Reconciliation have you done? Have you verified? No sir, he is only paying me 2,500. Don't take up such assignments. Please. Don't take up these assignments. They have no choice. They have to come to you. If you charge 25 also, they have to come to you. And if you charge 2.5, he will treat you like a doormat only. You charge him 25,000, he will say, there must be something worth. Yeah? He may go to somebody else, he will be an ITP. You will charge him 2,000 or 500. Let him charge, no problem. When he gets into the problem where he will remember your 25,000 quote. He has to pay 25 lakh interest. At that time, he will remember your 25,000 quote. You will say, okay, I could have paid 25,000 into 12 and saved my 25 lakhs interest. Other than penalty and future demand, everybody knows how many demands can come. You looked at the law. Whenever he said simple, I was also a little worried. And Divya came and said he is making laws simple. I don't know whether GST is simple. Yes, we are trying to make it simple. So I think one job you have immediately stopped is uploading. unless you are verifying. If you are verifying and uploading, please go ahead. If you are only uploading, like our management representation letter, I suggest you make a very long representation. You did not give the following information. You sent the information on 19th. When I asked for this information, you asked me to upload. I told you the matter is not the liability is not arrived at. You insisted that I upload, therefore I uploaded. Please ensure this is there on record. Otherwise, disciplinary action sure. Remember, when the demand comes of crores of rupees, the first person they will look at is who? They will say, Venu, you have been, or Annapurna, you have been taking 2,500 for the last 3 years. Now I have got 2.5 crores demand. Who is responsible? They'll call, this is the first question they'll ask. They'll forget that they never gave information, that she asked so many times. If she had kept everything orally, tomorrow she has to come before disciplinary committee. Other than spoiling her name in the market. Please understand, that's very important. You spoil your name. Because they'll go around saying, I got this auditor, I don't know what this chartered accountant nowadays are doing. My old chartered accountant, it was very reliable. So I think you have to be very careful. One more value add which you can look at, I think in this whole reconciliation process, you saw many of the slides which Venu was showing. It shows that there is something missed, credit missed. Doubtful credits. There are many doubtful credits, right? You ask Venu, he will say it's allowed. You ask Annapurna, she says no. You come to me, I say both are possible. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I am asking you. 1 crore is the amount of credit. What you are going to do? If you don't take it and tomorrow the courts after 5 years say that it is available, they will throw you out of the company, not pay you any of your dues. As it is, 1 year outstanding is there nowadays. Is it? Or less? 1 year outstanding is there, so that 1 year fee is gone. Plus bad debt. So just think, maybe you should look at whether you can do something about this. One suggestion I have is, please include all this nonsense into your 3B. With adequate disclosure in writing to the department. Write to the department, tell them these are the things which are missed out. Credits I am taking. Transition credit, the window was closed on 27th December. We do not know what logic is there. Somebody said 180 days. What 180 days? What 180 days? Is there any logic in simply closing 27th? You are eligible for credit. You should be able to take till September, no? At least till September. If they want a demand, if there is some demand against you, they can go back 6 years, 5 years, plus that additional period they get 6 years, 6.5 years. 6.5 years they can go back. You cannot even go back 3 months, December or whatever, 6 months. Why? Is it something which is arbitrary? If it is arbitrary, courts are going to strike it down. Courts now have said that if you have made an attempt and captured your attempt, then we will allow you to file. That window also is closed, right? How can they come up with all this? I think it's quite arbitrary, and there are enough of High Court cases pending. Most probably trans one also will be opened in due course of time. So if you have missed out trans one, take it in 3B. Your client is MNC. He says, no, I don't want to do anything against law, no show cause notice, nothing should come. Right to the department. Registered post. You say that I was not able to file because your system was crashing, this, that, I didn't have employees at that time, whatever your reason, I gave it to an outsourced person who disappeared after some time. This is all happening, really. Therefore, I was not able to file. Therefore, I have taken it here. Kindly confirm that it is okay. Will they reply? No. Nobody will reply. Sometimes they will send you back the whole document by registered post. Then thank them for it. Send one more registered post. Thank you for sending back everything. But you have not confirmed this. I have asked for this confirmation. So they will not confirm, right? So what you can do? Call those Johnnies. Orally, these Johnnies are all expert GST. Writing you want them to give, they don't know anything about GST. So call them. I normally do not advise you to call the department ever in the last 20-25 years. Now in GST I find a need to call them. So you call them and you say, how is it possible? Thank you very much sir. Keep the phone down, write another registered post. You confirm to me that I cannot take the credit. Though I have given you so many reasons why I can take the credit, I am reversing under protest. This is for those clients who are MNCs who don't want show cause notice. Our normal Indian clients, you don't have to bother. Tell them chances that you will win. ठीक है sir, आएगा तो देखेंगे. बंदा के नोट So no problem with our Indian clients, MNC clients. You have to reverse under protest.
Should we only avail and not utilize, or should we?
Avail and reverse. If you don't utilize, you are gone. No. The law is very clear. If you don't utilize, if you avail wrongly, you have a demand on you. So you have to reverse. If your utilization has nothing to do with it in this law, till we have a High Court or Supreme Court decision which says this is unreasonable. Unlike in the past law, where if you had got an accumulated credit and you didn't utilize it, you already kept in your books, didn't utilize, today's law doesn't allow it. You will have to pay the penalties and interest. And therefore you reverse it. Once you reverse, you don't have to pay. And whenever the law comes that you can take it, again write one more letter. Please refer to my letter dated. This will be in 2021. You write a letter that this 1.5 crores I had not taken at that time based on what you had told. I had reversed it under protest. Therefore, I am availing it now in my return. I am just giving you something which is a wonderful system to follow, and I don't see any risk in it at all for the MNC or otherwise. Remember, credit, first question which comes, of course, now Venu may object to what I say because we have had a large discussion on this. Whether this credit which is there in GST is a right, is it your right? Or like VAT, is it a deduction or benefit? This question, people who have been practicing VAT say no, it cannot be a right. I have been practicing both. Most of my time I have been practicing excise and service tax, and I feel that it's a right, and we win 99.5% of our cases. I don't think any SANVAT case we have lost in the last 25 years. So if you want, you can follow what I say, but you may be that 0.5%. Be careful. So with that I will go to, I forgot to, only one thing I forgot to tell you, or I wanted to tell you before I start. See, there are 20 lakh SSCs who want our work. Totally there are 1.2 crore SSCs. Forget the 1 crore. They are for the ITPs and STPs and whoever else wants them, they can go to them. 20 lakh SSCs, are they enough for us? How many of us chartered accountants know GST? Aware of GST, maybe 1 lakh. Among the whatever 2.5 lakhs or 2.75 lakhs are there. No GST, maybe 20,000. So if it is 20 lakh and 20,000 per chartered accountant, how many SSCs is it? Kitna hai? 100. Do you think you can handle 100 GST clients? Impossible. 25 per chartered accountant. So why are you reducing your fee? You should have that. I saw in one movie where there was, all of us thought it's a joke, where there was a negotiation going on between two people, and the fellow first he said 100 rupees. The fellow said no, 100 rupees mein nahi chalega, 120. Then this fellow bargained with him again. He said nahi, make it 110. He said no, now it's 140. So that's the way you should be. If any client asks you for reduction, increase the fee and tell him. Because if he goes also, he is going to come back to you later. Or he is going to go wherever, let him go. There is a lot of work involved in whatever you saw. Whatever you saw which Venu showed, lot of work is involved. Each of those lines you have to have one more schedule. You have to have one more Excel. And how do you get the information? Whatever said and done, information not going to just come and land there. You have to do lot of things to make the information come. And you have to use software. Till now you are getting all free software. Software doesn't come easy. So I think, I don't know if you talked about Zen now. There are some good softwares which reduce your verification time. Anyway, that's not the topic for the time. I can take about 1 hour. I'll take your permission because we were supposed to close at 5. So if I can take 1 hour, I'll finish my presentation. Yes? Pardon?
Yes.
No, I didn't catch that.
Yes.
Okay, please. Then I take 1.5 hours. whatever I tell you will be 100% worthwhile, that is for sure. I think anything, now you see GST, anybody who is willing to share what they know about GST, you will find it always worthwhile. I hope you are taking notes, because later you will forget many of the things which we are telling you. Whatever I heard from him, luckily he said, I am going to share this. Immediately I sent a message to two of my people in office, please get PPT from Venu. Already said, Mahadev and Lakshmi have said, you may get to the request now. See, one of the things we have to look at is, we are all serving the clients finally. We are also making a good living out of it. In GST you can make a better living than maybe in income tax, maybe on other traditional area. I would even say audit. Because everywhere you are making only margins. You spend this much of money and then you make 20% extra. Our office, we have traditionally been having around 50% net margin after spending so much and opening so many offices and all that and paying. Obviously the partners take away a lot of money. So I had included it in a cost. Then my partner called me and said, sir, you can't take partners drawing as cost. I said, no, partners are drawing so much. Maximum figure is only partners drawing. So, and none of us are very smart people who came from somewhere else. I don't think I have even a single rank student in my office. I myself, had a few difficulties when I passed my CA. Few more than normal, I would say. So how do you give the maximum value to your clients? By avoiding dispute. Let me also tell you on the other side, flip side of it, in GST practice or in income tax practice or any other practice, the litigation is the cream. Litigation gives you income for many, many years. Even your children can get income from litigation. We have around 3,000 or 4,000 files. We aligned with one more person who has another 3,000 files. All of us getting together. Why? Because litigation takes time. Now we have service tax litigation and excise litigation. Up to October of 2019, you will get notices in excise and service tax and VAT. And they are now telling we are going to close out everything. Close out everything means everything is going to become show cause notice, maybe 80%. They are also thinking of some dispute resolution method. Maybe it will not be that lucrative, the old ones. But the new ones, you have already heard about the law. How many chinks are there in this? We just talked about IGST, SGST. I remember seeing one report maybe 15 days back. It was of the insurance company which we did. And in mistakes in IGST versus SGST, how many types of mistakes do you think can be there? This place has whatever, 20 branches or something. It's an insurance company, so everywhere there are branches. How many mistakes can be there in this? How many types of mistakes can be there? Just take a wild guess. Huh? This particular audit, 20 mistakes, different mistakes were identified. 20 different mistakes. Because operations does not bother about GST. I got a contract from my Maharashtra office, but I did something and somebody said, no, GST cannot be done from here. It has to be done from head office. I told head office to make a IGST invoice. In another case, I told that Nagpur person himself to make the invoice, whereas the order was not clear. I asked him to make SGST, CGST instead of IGST. I myself made the invoice in one transaction. Like this, if you keep looking, 20 different types of transaction. And what shocked me in this is that out of this 20, 6 were irrecoverable. That means we can't get it back. Over. Finished. So maybe Venu, you should do one more study on this IGST. It is Vikram's report. It is. You can get that report from Rupa. I was shocked. And then I told somebody, how is it possible? Just 2 things, IGST or SGST, how can it happen? Then he said, sir, this is whatever we observed in that client. There may be many more. Many more possibilities, which they have not done the mistakes. So, nothing is so simple as it looks. So, as I said, the Moral of the story is don't charge less. This is a very good opportunity to put your value. Study GST well, give the service well, and charge the clients well. What I would like to touch on is what is the changing environment. You know it, but I'll still touch on it, and some major focus areas. Then I'll get into the mitigation side. You have seen that there is more transparency in the system. Everybody is accountable. You also will be accountable. You can't get away with these oral phone calls, I told, you told and all. You will not get away because amounts will be frozen. They will say you have not reconciled this. They will say in your scope of work reconciliation is there. So why didn't you reconcile? Now we have lost 2 crores. What should we do? Will you pay it? Client can ask all these questions. He says, because I didn't know GST, I appointed you. And you can't say, I don't know GST. What about tax officers? Even they are accountable. Everything is on the net now, except I think refund is manual. Even there they have got time limits. So it's becoming, they are also becoming terribly accountable. They can't come and keep on, issuing notices. They issued one notice, I think, on that difference between 2A and GST or 3B. They made some, for which we have hosted a reply also on the LinkedIn. How many of you are on LinkedIn? Okay, most of you. Okay, so you would have got it probably. Other than that, CA Club India also is a very good place where number of articles and PPTs and all are uploaded. Even today I uploaded 2 PPTs for you all. CA Club India, if you go, you can see shareable PPTs 2 are there. One of them is very useful for the audience here. One of them is, I think, only how to arrive at aggregate turnover or something. You are seeing that electronic interface is increasing like anything. So any of us who are not, tech savvy, we are going to get into difficulty. So I think Bangalore branch also, Divya, you can think about this. What all technology we require for compliance in GST can be certainly a day's workshop. Workshop with you've got beautiful labs. You've got a lab here, you've got a lab there. I think you should do it. Even I may come to it. I don't know. Depends. Timing. Tax harmonization is happening in India. All this fitment to rates and all is being done so that we get a good tax. IMF has said our law is very complex, right? Even recently it was reported IMF is not happy with GST in India. We are happy with GST in India. They are not happy. Industry felt what they got was much more than they would expect. Industry is really happy with it, especially the tax compliant. Unethical activities, earlier intermediary work was tremendous. Now where is the intermediary? You have to come, you have to only talk to the computer. There is nobody to talk to. So your skills of oration and convincing skills are all not going to be available, required also in future. I think that you are seeing what is happening with CS. We are being expected to look at many things. We keep saying that we are watchdogs, not bloodhounds. I keep thinking why we cannot be a bloodhound. If you have done a diligent job in a bank, why you can't find fraud? You will find fraud. Only if you are running away, doing it for 2 days, making your assistants go there, going only for signing, then you cannot find fraud. Otherwise, you should have a reasonable chance of finding fraud unless it is deep-rooted. Even that SWIFT, whatever SWIFT fraud was there, it was reported by 4 of the 6 auditors at Punjab National Bank. 4 auditors reported it. Why? They followed the guidance note. In that there is one specific clause which says if nostro accounts of foreign banks are not being reconciled, you report it. So they reported. It's not being recorded. That's all. Finished. That was their job. Only thing is the Reserve Bank of India, which saw this, did not bother about it. 4 years, 2015 onwards to 14 onwards, this is being reported. They didn't see it. In fact, when I was in Mangalore, one of those officers of some bank said something, then I gave it back to him. Unfortunately, they were the sponsors for the program. So when the chairman called me, I told him, why are you going for sponsors? Why do you want to go for sponsors? Our people can pay for whatever. No, I will not pay. What sponsor is there for this? 200 of you. Actually, only 100 of you should be there. Maximum. 50 actually ideal. But you are 200 of you. Why? Because the program is such, you don't have time also. So all of you are paying good money, no? How much you are paying?
3.5.
Quite low. Anyway, they don't pay us, you saw, they'll give you one small slip, one 2000 voucher for buying in Bangaram or something they give. I don't get anything, even that. So we are supposed to look far beyond whatever we are doing. I think in every audit we have to become more. You use automated tools. Nowadays you can do 100% checking of many transactions. So why don't you go for 100%? Who is asking you to do sample? Sample is if you cannot do 100%. So remember that. I think this is a thought process which I have. Department, how it is changing its focus. Earlier they used to simply go on fishing expedition. Today no fishing expedition because they are not allowed to come to your place at all. All they can do is that they can crunch numbers, do some data analysis. That they are not capable of. GST is doing it. In fact, I don't know, I think Venu was not there that day. We had gone to GST once about 2 months back. 11 lakh SSCs who have done hocus pocus. Names and what hocus pocus, what probable amount is already available with them. It's only, I think, because of all these, ease of doing business, they're just holding back. I don't know when they are going to release that to the market. 11 lakh notices. Can you imagine? 20,000 of us. How we can manage? Does anybody else? Is there anybody, advocates, can they handle? Sorry. Accounts is involved. Facts are involved. It's not some legal point. Yes, they can go to the red court. Many of them are going for AR. Advance ruling. Advance ruling is, you go there, you don't know who will get cut, you or the other side. It's like a monkey with a razor going for advance ruling. Some fools are there who are continuing to go. 1 out of 10 advance rulings only is fit to go for advance ruling. You go for advance ruling, your client is ruined normally. Unless, of course, he is trying to establish a higher rate which he wants to convince his customer to go for advance ruling, that fellow will give a higher rate, go and give it to the customer happy. Customer will say, yeah, I don't think. Finished. All this effort gone, plus you have to pay higher rate. Once you have a AR, you have a rate which is, you have gone and asked for rate, you better follow it. Of course, there is an appeal procedure and all is there, can take time. So what is it that the department is doing? They have started reviewing financials. They are asking us to teach them how to read balance sheet. Not now, last 3-4 years. Trend analysis, they have started doing all the comparison which we do, when we look at internal audit or even statutory audit, we look at all trend analysis, we look at ratios and see what is happening. Reconciliations, you already heard. Actually, that's etc. is the right word there. So, how many more are there? E-way bill to DC, can you imagine? Is it required? E-way bill to DC, reconciliation, without that can you finalize manufacturing companies or a trader's GST? You can't. You can't. Job work, if it is job work reconciliation, without that can you do? So these are methods which are being used by department now. They are saying you reconcile this and give. So if you don't reconcile, of course there will be other issues. Many of us have forgotten in this whole exercise that this very important thing imbibed by us in our audit when we used to do the exam. Risk, internal control risks. What are the inherent risks? I am doing a gutka business. Do you think they will be compliant? I am doing plastic industry. Do you think they are compliant? All you have to do is, you have to, as a chartered accountant, look at some factors. If it is gutka, you might look at, maybe the cartons. How many cartons they are purchasing? Simple. If it is plastic, maybe you have to look at electricity consumption versus how much. You will be shocked. The amount of electricity consumed is 20 times the amount of electricity required. You think they are fools? All plastic industry, I am talking about Bangalore only, I am not talking about some, outside Aligarh and all. Bangalore, steel industries, Patta, all that, cold steel rolling mills, all of them are there in this area. They will all have lot of information be collected by GST which will lead to problems. So if there is inherently a poor compliance industry, maybe our antenna has to be off. Controls, what are the controls which are there? Do they have any controls to detect errors? Do they have controls to prevent errors? Do they have controls to correct errors? Today all these three are possible. In the system itself you can have all these three getting into a point where they can have all these three. So are we doing any risk analysis when we do work for GST? You may do the rest of it because all that is well set. You have a SOP, every control is there. But what about indirect access? Is there a control in indirect access? Probably SOP, even the largest companies in India, they don't have SOP. Largest groups, they don't have an SOP for indirect access. Now GST has come. They started doing something for excise, VAT and all that. Now GST has come, they have to change the SOP. So many people don't have SOPs. That's another area where you can look at. Revenue leakage analysis. This is what department does. GST is already doing it. We are also helping them. We are telling them, these are the areas where you can do. And they have a lot of information. Just like Google has a lot of information, GST has a lot of information now. As far as we are concerned, we are expected to give value also to the client. We can't just do our normal, this is my job, I will just comply and go. The client wants value addition. He wants you to hold his hand to resolve GST issues. Maybe consumption of raw material, this is something which these are all things which department is doing, and they are also looking at this value addition. You will be surprised. They don't only look at leakages. One of the biggest problems I thought which is coming up in GST is that confidential information of the client is available. A person like Venu, or if you have the skills what Venu has of extracting information, you give him only the OTP. Everything about the company he will be able to tell you. You can actually see where are the purchases, where the sales are going, what is the rate of purchase, what is the sales, and how long does it take to copy all this on a pen drive. So is your valid, is your data safe? All of us keep, we have a digital signature of client. You open a drawer, there will be some 25 boxes, each one, A, B, C, each client, Madhukar, they will open and find that box, digital signature. All this is going to have some impact. Somebody else does something, will the impact come on us? You have to think about it. When we go for audit, are they giving all the information? They don't give. So you may be doing work with limited information. Are we putting it on record that it is so? Our, there are some standards also on evidence and working papers. Do we have a permanent file, working file? I find all the working files are available on the individual computers of the lowest person in our organization. Are they uploading it into the main server? Nobody knows. You can think of all this. These are all issues which within our office we are going to get. Agreements, contracts may be very long, 50, 60, 100 pages. Will you be able to make out? Today you have an advanced ruling which says that for the solar projects, you have a 5%. So if you have individual, you are giving one order to Mark, one order to Ashok, one order to Venu, and one order for putting everything by Annapurna. Only she will be charging 18%. No, she will be charging 5% because for solar projects there is a 5% concession. All of you will be charging 18, 28 and all. But the whole project together can be at 5%. How will your client be ever competitive if he does that? He may have taken, I have already gone for the tenders or whatever it is, loss of profit I have to do. Can you make it all coterminous? Can you put one vendor who will put all this together so that you can get the benefit? Let me take an opposite situation. I am doing a project for the Bangalore airport. There I don't have any 5% concession. But many of the items for aerospace are all 5%. Now if I have gone for one single contract, I have to pay 18% on the whole thing. But if the components are coming, the materials which are coming at concessional rate, project import 5%. So how am I going to compete with anybody if I am going to pay 18%. Law will be very clear, 18%, because it's a turnkey contract, because it's quoted. So before the contract comes itself, you have to divide it. So you might have to look at many things and read the contract carefully. There can be many clauses. There will be one or two clauses which will prove that it is a quoterness contract. You can't just say that these are the breakups, have separate contracts and say no, these are all separate contracts. You may have to be very careful in these contracts. What we are giving till now, whatever work you are doing in GST till the statutory audit is put in place, you will be a management report, just like your internal audit report. It goes to the management. Management very happy till you are only reporting to them. The day statutory audit comes, whether you will continue as that company's GST auditor is something which is questionable. Because you know what all is wrong. Now what you are doing, you are reporting in your reports, you say these are the compliances, 1.5 crores has to be paid with interest, you have to pay this much, and you have got 28 lakhs credit not taken. What is the client doing? 28 lakhs credit he takes, 1.5 crores he parks it. But in your report, once you have 35.5 in place and you are supposed to report, or you are saying that annual return you are certifying, at that time what you have to do? Can you leave that 1.5 crores? No. Client will leave you. So think about it. Don't be in a hurry to take any statutory audit. Let these cost accountants do it. They are anyway eligible. I don't wish bad on them, but I'm just telling you. Or let these 500 rupee tappa fellows are there everywhere. Let them go to them. You give a proper report. Let them do what they want, and statutory audit by somebody else. You may also have to insist on legal opinions. Client says, I don't know. I asked him, he says, like the example I gave, 3 different opinions. Maybe it should be in writing. Opinion in phone is worth 0 rupees. At least an email reply should be there if you want to hold somebody accountable. No, I checked up, I met J.K. Mittal in the airport. I just asked him. He said, yeah, no need to pay. So, J.K. Mittal is responsible, is it? He might have told the correct thing also. But if it's not in writing, you don't know why he has arrived at that opinion. How can a chartered accountant who is doing the audit rely on what they are saying? Legal opinions anyway, which we give, they are privileged information, so we need not reveal them, so you can keep a separate file for it. Don't put it in the audit file. Audit file they can take anytime. Legal opinion they can't. I think when you talked about computerization, I see that this is the area where maximum risk is there for us. Many of us use Excel. Even many of the companies who are having ERP use Excel. They don't use ERP because ERP will not allow them to do what they want to do. So what they do, they say we have ERP system, SAP and all that. They will have one thing, this thing. They will give you one training on SAP also. Then when you ask for GST, we will give you an Excel sheet. You might have to see whether it is integrated into SAP or are you taking SAP. So you have minimum one more reconciliation in addition to all his reconciliations. That is
excellence.
Excel to the books, one more reconciliation. Or Excel to the SAP, one more reconciliation. Lot of tools in the market. We will give you 5,000 rupees per month or 10,000 rupees per month. You go by L1, I think there is going to be a big risk. Because nobody is giving any freebie. I always say, father-in-law does he give or mother-in-law does she give a freebie? I don't think so. Luckily both of them are not here anymore. Now, even if you tell anybody, it doesn't matter. Otherwise that would have been another problem after some time. So these uncertified tools, unless the tool is certified, you cannot rely on it. This is what should be there in your communication with the client. You can simply say the IS audit is not done, tools which are being used are not proper. We don't know whether it's proper or not. At least put it like the auditors did in PNB. They said these records are not maintained. That's all. That's all you require to do. You can say these tools are there, not certified. we don't know what will happen. Now if we look at the internal audit, this has become a very important function under GST. Till now internal audit used to be only a few compliances we see, labor law, TDS. Now you have got GST also. So don't continue the same internal audit. If you are doing GST, at least triple the fees. Or if you say GST audit you get done by somebody else, the moment they get the quote from that fellow, they will say, okay, you only do. Triple the fee. I am telling you how to get, because otherwise it may not happen. And what happens in non-compliance in other laws? Everything, he showed you income tax, there can be Companies Act, and there can be any amount of crisscross between the old laws also. Because of this year especially, this split year, you have a lot of problems of transactions which didn't complete on 1st of July of 2017. Many companies have specialized health checks, due diligence. Everywhere GST has to be added. If you look, many of the internal audit functions, the management thinks that everything is covered. The auditor is very clear that hardly anything is covered. And he has documented it by sending one audit program which nobody reads because it's about 10 pages. They say, it must be there somewhere. So they leave it. But it is there. Auditor has set his scope and he has limited himself. He would have said that other than IDT, they won't read because it will come after the 20th page. So nobody reads and we keep ourselves safe. But now maybe you have to see that GST is included in. Many of you are from industry, you might have to include GST into the whole thing. Many of the clients are doing only ITC because that is where the money comes in. They want ITC verification to be done. And I think you are aware that ITC you are going to lose after
30th September.
You know that. So that at least that reconciliation you have to do. If you are not doing any other reconciliation for your clients, at least that. I think we have put a number of articles, mass mails. I think in the Chartered Accountant Journal also, though we have given a mass mail, I still requested them and they said, okay, we put it in the journal. I am not saying again that that table which has been provided is pakka. Probably if I give it to Venu, you will add another 2 pages to that. Add this, minus this and all that. Due diligence, when you take over, etc., I think GST is again where it's important. Let's look at the new focus areas. All this I am telling you because we are talking about mitigation of problem for the SSCs. This is also being shared, Mark. This is also being shared. If you want to send, I will send you also. Registration, aggregate turnover, lot of problems. Lot of people think exports is not included, exempted not included. We saw deemed export you mentioned, not included. This is what we think, but all of them are included as far as turnover is concerned. If I don't register, I don't get credit. Very, very important. I think some small window has been opened recently for those who have not migrated. For them, credit is available if they migrate. This is I don't know if you observed it. How many of you are getting IDT update? Okay. All of you should get IDT update. In fact, I didn't know. I saw the circular, I said, some circular. But then I saw Jatin's comment in the end. He said, this is important because this is a window for you to take credit for the past which is not available now. If I have not registered, I don't get credit. But because of this window, now I can take credit if I have not registered. So this is a window available for non-compliant people to come in and take credit. So this comment was there because of which I read it again. That's why all of you should get IDT, get registered because you just have to go give your membership number and you are through. There is no registration fee, nothing. Automatically it will come with the updates, with the comments. Whenever we register, we have to look at ITC. What is the impact? I might have a lot of stocks. So I don't bother, I just get it registered. He says, no, that fellow is saying 3,000 for registration, you do it for 2,500. You register and forget about it. But he has 1 crore of stock. On that 1 crore of stock, 18 lakhs of GST has been paid. Now you don't find the particular application, you lost that 18 lakhs. So why not tell him that, I will charge you 10,000 but I will give you the benefits, whatever is available. I will study everything and do it. Many times we have supply at a later year. You have the billing done for target purposes and it goes to the next year. This year also then you will have these problems. There are also lots of things which are unbilled revenue. unbilled. We have done the work, not billed because we have reached the target. Next year we will bill. So all this can be a cause of concern because it is a taxable event is over. If we look at supply, there is a normal supply and deemed supply with and without consideration. In certain cases, related parties is important, imports is important here. The biggest problem I saw in supply was whether a supply is a composite supply or a non-composite supply. Even our material, I think, does not talk about the non-composite, or this time it has added a paragraph. There is something called non-composite supply also. Then there is a mixed supply. There are 3 types of supplies. Many of us think there are only 2. Wherever it's not a composite supply, principal supply we cannot make out, then it could be a non-composite supply or a mixed supply. Non-composite supply means you will charge for each of the items separately. And it is possible to make a transaction a non-mixed supply. Non-composite. A mixed supply can be made into a non-composite supply easily, where no liability comes on the highest rated, etc. Reverse charge. Many of us are thinking these are all items under reverse charge, but there are options of forward charge also. The biggest option is transporters. Why should I take service from transporters under reverse charge? I should go under forward charge because he can get credit of his vehicles, 28%. He will get credit of all the tires, tubes, batteries, anything he replaces, lubricants used. He can reduce his cost by about 6%. So if a transportation per kilometer costs 100 rupees for that particular consignment, it will be 94 rupees if he takes all this credit. So why am I not working with transporters on forward charge? Why should I go on the reverse charge and lose the credit? Classification is a very, very big bugbear because classification can kill the industry, kill your client. Everybody is charging only 5%. Printing industry, brochures. Brochure is 5%. And technical literature is 12%. So what is the difference? If you ask the client who is in the brochure business, he will say, no, there is nothing called technical literature. Everything is a brochure. One 2-page brochure, one is 100-page brochure. But the problem is 7% in between. If his turnover is 20 crores, then and the 10 crores is this technical brochure, you are talking about 70 lakhs plus interest plus penalty over a period of 5 years. 5 years. So you multiply it, 7 into 5, 35 plus interest plus penalty, it will come to about 80% of his turnover of 1 year. Will he be able to take that hit when he has only 10% margin on which he is paying corporate tax also? So just think about it. Classification for a manufacturer, trader, supply chain is even more dangerous. I am a manufacturer, I have sold it to you at 5%. You are not going to bother, you are going to charge 5% to the next person, and the retailer also will charge 5%. The day the retailer gets caught, all of you will get show cause notice. For what amount? For the gross value. Right? You as a retailer sold it at 5, so you pay the 7% differential. Distributor will have to pay 7% differential. I will have to pay 7% differential. Again, look at 5 years time horizon. We are going to pay more than 150% turnover of that item itself. Just think, it is very, very bad. The law is very bad. We have been telling them, but they have not rectified some of this. Exemption also could be even worse. Here we talked about 7%. Exemption is 18% multiplied by whatever we are talking about. Be very strict with exemptions. Don't take exemptions. I think we can defend it. Very, very dangerous. Of course, as a chartered accountant, I say that you have to stick your neck out a little. You have to be a little adventurous. Recently, we got one particular issue. There was a notification January or something on this real estate. Mark is aware of this. Where they said, landlord share he has to pay. So, I don't know. I feel it need not be paid. So, can we tell landlord don't pay? 5 years later, if it comes, he has to sell. Whatever balance land he has also he has to sell. But we can still say, we put some caveats and all that and tell something. Place of supply. I don't know how many of you have gone through a class for place of supply. I, at least, every time I sit in a class, I get a little confused in one aspect. Though I have been writing books and all that. Maybe the best way is look at it in both ways. First you have to comply, then you have to also look at the customer, because customer doesn't get credit, then he is not interested in whatever you are doing. So you have a hotel stay. You are staying in hotel in Indore, you don't have an office, you don't have ISD registration. What do? I don't know. Maybe some chartered accountant should have one, facilities management company in all the states, where he will take on all these bills and he will issue a support service bill. He will take credit and give a support service. The difference will be 2%. Mark, think about it. Across India, and you will earn more than all the fellows sitting in this room. You will earn more than 2% is more than enough.
Oyo concept.
Oyo type. But you have to have, and you can have it sitting in Bangalore only. In your office only, you put some good software, designated registered places you have, and do it. Input tax credit, if you look at it, this is the most dangerous thing which is there for the industry, and also we have to understand this is not just like output. A trader pays 10 rupees, credit he takes is 90 rupees. So 9 times credit is taken. So the amount which is involved actually is 9 times whatever he pays. So if you are looking at GST of 1 lakh crores being paid, there is at least 6 lakh crores of credit. Trader it is 9 lakh crores, but traders are not only there, manufacturers, service providers. So you have 6 lakh crores credit. Obviously the mistakes will be in that 6 lakh crores. More mistakes, 1:6 mistakes will be there. And there are a lot of tax planning possible there. Can we follow cost accounting methods for avoiding that common credit business? Bring down common credit to some 1,000. In thousands. You have a 10 crore credit. Do use cost accounting methods to ensure that all are identified. So wherever it's not taxable, don't take the credit at all. Only take taxable. Common, you leave some 1 lakh. And even if you have to reverse the whole lakh, it doesn't matter. That way can you do it? Just think about it. We used to advise this in service tax, and till now we didn't have any problem. Of course, department did not agree. We earned about 20-30 lakhs in litigation. That was, we earned something, but client didn't lose anything except the 20 lakhs. Filing return, you know what we mentioned. Once anything is missed in the earlier statement can be made good, whether it's liability or credit, you can make good in your GSTR1. And GSTR 3B. GSTR 1, you have to do reconciliation. Don't file what the client gives. Do the reconciliation before you file, otherwise it's going to be very difficult in the end of the year. Refunds, many times people don't ask whether it's eligible at all. They make the refund claim. Sometimes even now in this anxiety to give refunds, they give you refund. And if it is, God forbid, it's not eligible, you are in a very, very big suit. Second thing in refunds is that in companies we have got used to the concept that we can make an application, in due course of time, 5-10 years we'll get it. In GST it's not like that. You follow up refund properly, you get the refund without payment. I don't know how many of you or how many people of your clients are still paying 10% for refund. 10% refund is gone. That rate of 10 has come to 1. Because the department doesn't have to be paid anything. Automatically you are getting. You just have to do your documentation properly. So there is only issue what you have to see is whether all the refunds have come. Earlier even if 50% refund was there, client was happy. Now you can get 100% refund. So please follow that. Reconciliation for refund also you can have. I think he showed some refund also. You can pay the IGST and go for that refund instead of going on accumulated credit. This is the easier way, that's why it's 1%. This scrutiny assessments can come if we don't file returns in time. We don't file that scrutiny assessment, then he will say whatever he wants to say. Please avoid scrutiny. File returns in time. If it is delayed, file delayed and pay the fee, etc. Sometimes the department is asking for information. Please ensure you send the information, because if you don't send the information, it gets escalated in the system. Very important. Even that 1A GSTR, 1A versus 3B something. You have to make reply. Make the reply now. Put the ball in their court. Then you will see. They cannot make out what to do. You can tell them it's illegal, everything you can say, and leave it in their court. But please ensure you reply. Don't keep pending. Oh, we'll see this later. Later means then you have to meet the officer, and normally he is powerless. Earlier, officer only used to raise the demand, so he could close the demand. Here, officer is not raising. He is just a conduit. So he cannot drop demand if he feels so. It will not close. Now I come to the core part of our discussion, but all this was necessary to come to this. Why there are problems in GST? First is clarity of the law is not there. There are huge number of amendments which are going on, which will go on for another year. So how we can mitigate this is only by regularly updating, training ourselves, at least the new concepts. As of now, we have kept on coming up with documents. Every 2 months we come out with what has happened in the last 2 months, update. Complicated issues, please take in writing, even if it's emailed, and send it to the department in writing and ask them to confirm. What does this save? Very, very big saving is there here. Sometimes when you make this, when complicated issues are there, when you cannot make out who knows GST, do you think the department will be able to make out who doesn't know GST? They can't. So once you have told them, there is a moral policing you can say on them that they can't make a demand because you have asked them. You can even ask them for a reminder. I wrote this letter, you have still not clarified, we are still going on as per our understanding. Please do tell us so that we can comply with the law. Again, they won't reply, but keep it on record. Second thing which comes very important is penalty. Other than the mandatory penalty, no penalty can be there on your client. Even though the department has not replied. Now this is one. Biggest advantage is limitation. There is a concept of limitation. When I started practice in 87, it was 6 months, and we used to think it is very, very unreasonable that their indirect tax is being collected for 6 months prior. If I made a mistake, because I can't collect from my customer. Now they have allowed 3 years. Can I collect? Which customer of mine will change his books or account something for the last 3 years? Nobody will account. His books are closed. So limitation is the biggest advantage you have by doing this. I call it a Brahmastra. Earlier it used to be Brahmastra, slowly it has become just a Astra. As of now it's Astra, but it's still useful. When you will get the benefit of this? After 4 years. After 4 years, if the department comes for investigation, you can tell them, boss, you cannot. Limitation period is over. Now he has to issue it for the whole period, no? And when he issues it for the whole period, all you have to do is send them a letter. Remember, notice is not sent in one day. Lot of things before that. They ask you for information. When they ask for information, you ask information back. That I had filed this letter, I have reminded you on this date and this date. Please tell me all the assistant commissioners, and superintendents, name, designation, and email ID. Please give all that, because they are also equally responsible for this. Just write that. Show cause notice should be issued to them also. Are you thinking it is something unreasonable?
No.
We wrote to them. We asked them. They didn't reply. We reminded. That also they didn't do. Now when the time comes for paying, they are saying, no, forget all that, you pay. No, I will pay. Let them also get rusticated. Let them be removed from the department. The moment you write this letter, this case will never see the light of the day. It will never see the light of the day, because how many officers? 9 officers I am telling you include in this notice. They will call you, threaten you, all that they will do, but they will not issue the notice. Because the moment they issue notice, your reply itself will say, these are the people I want to, let them give a reply whether they have seen my letter or not seen. So some of them would have seen, they would have even put a signature, they would have put, you can even under RTI ask for that particular paper, so that you know which all signatures or whoever is there. Those fellows put there, they are all out of the department. So will they issue notice? Just think. Department is still to look at all the mistakes which are there in law. Now builders, they have got accumulated credit in a project. Is there a requirement to reverse the credit at the end of the period because everything has become immovable property? There is no provision in the law to do so. Logically, they should do it. But when they make demand, is it logical? Why we should be logical for paying this reversal? Let them make the law clear. The day you write a letter like this to department, within 2 months they will issue a notice. They will retrospectively amend this. In fact, last time I was saying why cars cannot get credit and all that. I think some of you must have heard it also. You can go on, hire and lease. This last council meeting, they did it and they changed the provision that hiring and leasing is also excluded from the provision itself. So they are still exploring. Whatever we do, they will rectify it. But till then, your client can enjoy. Don't argue with them physically, never. You tell them, see, I don't know what is GST. Do you know? You will say, I also don't know. So then why are we arguing? Why are we arguing? We don't know. Let them go to the courts. Let them decide.
So should we do this letters and documentation obtaining the power of attorney or would it?
Not you. You are nobody to do this. If you draft to client and then client doesn't do it, you tell him after the notice comes, you tell him this email I had sent you. You can send him a reminder, I hope you have done. Many clients don't like to send these letters. But if you don't have a backbone, you should be ready to get, I don't know, I don't want to use the word. Anyway, you know what I'm thinking about. Many times there will be decisions from Supreme Court, High Court, quashing the levy itself, wherever it's unreasonable. Sometimes the clients, while they are doing, can they object, even though they object, can they pay? Yes, under protest. Some people may tell you there is no protest payment provision in GST. But we are living in a democratic country. Just like natural justice, even if it is not there, automatically it should be provided. Protest also will be there. But protest should be clear. I am protesting because of the following reasons. All reasons may be useless. But you have to give some reasons. Let them say that all these reasons are useless, then you can tell them why it is useful, in which circumstance it can be useful. One of the methods we have been using is whenever we do take this path, if we send 3 pages, department sends one 4-line letter, we send 20 pages. Then they send 5-page letter, we send them 100 pages. Normally the buck stops at that point, they stop doing anything more. So I don't know if you want to do it, but I am not saying just like that. Remember, we are not trying to evade taxes, none of us in this room. Whatever I have been talking about is what you think is right. So, taxation clause in POs, very poorly drafted. You look at your client's POs, how they have looked at taxation clause, all vague. Joint development agreement. You don't know what they are saying. What they are saying, nobody can make out. It can be interpreted anyway. Sometimes they are not at all talking about it. Depends on who you are. If you are landlord, you can tell clearly, that everything is on the builder. Whatever I have to pay, also builder has to pay. If you are on the builder side, you can tell that landlord has to pay the GST at the time of handing over, and at the rate as applicable at that time, on the value as applicable at that time. Mention these things so that you don't have any dispute. I am resolving many disputes. Sometimes one person comes, takes a legal opinion from me. After 1 month, one fellow comes and he says, I am so and so, this thing. My case is like this, like this, like this. And I give an opinion and he says, sir, but to that person who is the landlord, you have given different opinion. Then I tell him, okay, let me take that fellow's opinion. But you have not disclosed the following to me. You disclose everything, I will give both people the same opinion. Otherwise, how can I? Many times we hesitate to interact with the department officers. In fact, department officers themselves I have seen. Higher up you go, less the corruption. And even if he is corrupt, he cannot indicate that he is corrupt. You know he is a thoroughbred rascal. But he cannot behave like a rascal. He will call that superintendent and tell him, yeah, useless fellow, you are harassing this fellow. He will say, after you go, he will say, leave him, no. There are so many other fish in the pond. Go catch the fish. So, ideally you should go up, escalate whenever you have a problem in the department, and we can fill this gap. He doesn't want to go, you can go. And when you go, you are a foil. that client can always say, I don't know, this Madhukar is mad little, you know. My name also starts with mad, so what to do? Our directors have chosen him, so I can't do anything. So you can become a file in between for such things. Change in management causes a lot of problems. Taxation policy as it is changing, then you have a change in management. When the change in management is there, normally they throw out all those old employees and take the new employees. GST, it is hierarchy. You don't know, only that fellow will know what all has happened for the last 10 years in service tax, excise and all. SOP, as I said, nobody has having, you can look at that, that could be a solution. Qualified people to handle. Tell the client you should take qualified people, don't take people, you know, who are available. Many times they'll take somebody and they'll say, no, I'll send him to your office, you train him. I myself don't know GST, but client doesn't know that I don't know. That's the only good thing about this whole thing. And then he expects me to train his people. So you should tell him, okay, 50,000 rupees. Then he'll say, no, I'll take somebody. That's the one way of doing it. And if he does come, then you start one training wing in your office, staff also and that fellow also. I think handing over is very, very important wherever there's change. So these are things which are very important in the indirect tax. We have seen these are the reasons why there is a problem. In fact, the fellow who goes out is one of the fellows who gives information to the department. He might have gone out because you refused. Now in GST era, he can come and say, I want 50,000. You will say, you're a BCom, you want 50,000, I'm not paying chartered accountants that much. He'll say, I'll teach you. He'll go outside and write one letter. The fellow will come, 5 crore demand. So this is happening. Most of the information which goes to the department is through accountants who have been not given proper weightage. Whether it's correct or wrong, I don't know. I'm not getting into that side of morality of it, I'm not getting into. Find the right man and otherwise train them at least. There are a lot of soft resources available. Our institute site itself has enormous amount of soft resources. Videos. I think even this, for example, whatever today is happening, all of you paid so much money, uncomfortable chair, somebody else will be watching this after 3 days without any money. He'll sit at home eating, watching movie, and Vedu Gopal is getting too technical, watch one movie for 15 minutes and get back to it. All this is possible. Sometimes I give wrong information. I don't do anything genuinely. I have given wrong information, I come to know. What we do, we keep quiet. Those days are gone. Please don't assume that it will not come out. If you have given wrong information, rectify it. Give the correct information, rectify it. Because of the power of the way in which their things are getting reported and getting reconciled by them. And when you interact with the department, either you should send a person who knows the law, or you should send an absolute demand. Two possibilities. Don't send anybody in between. We had one group of companies which are quite law-abiding, but the department used to create a lot of problems. So then I was their auditor, so a lot of letters used to go from us to the department. So this fellow was a big, solid-looking guy who doesn't know anything except Kannada, but imposing guy. And he will go and tell them, sir, he will give the letter. No, you come later. I cannot come later. This fellow is scared. Where this fellow will give one shot. So he said, no, I have to read, no. He will say, no, I don't understand this. He said, sir, I am a peon. If you don't understand, how you expect me to understand? You give me acknowledgement, that's all. Later you can tear it, throw it, do anything you want. I had trained him. He was very successful for Unfortunately, this fellow you can't put when the auditors come for audit and raise a long list. So there you have to have somebody who is competent. Many of the books of accounts you know, I know, unorganized sector, he may have given you only the bank statement and a few bills in a sack. Outward, inward, everything will be there in that sack. You have to now write the books, then do the audit and give it. GST also. So if it is not done properly and you are in difficulty, please don't take any of this up. In the past, we were doing tax audit was done like this, we know. We know out of the 20 lakh tax audits, 15 lakh tax audits were like this. September he will come and give something, and then you will give something, and somehow then give something there also, and then everybody gets something. Here is no, that fellow is not getting something. So he may not be very happy. So he may create problem. You also have, MIS reports can also help. Many of you are advising the boards and all that. Please ensure that there is MIS of GST. You never had this in the past. You have MIS of GST going to the board. How much of credit is there? What is the net, difference? Last year the net cash payment was 6%. This year it's 7.5%. Obviously, he will ask you, what is this 1.5%? Or last year it was 7.5%. This year it's 6%. Then he can ask you, what happened to that 1.5%? Have you missed it? If you have missed it, can we take it now? Both are possible. Otherwise, you may give a pat also. Non or wrong disclosure in returns. This is very, very prevalent. As I told you, 90% of the returns today being filed are only being uploaded. Only 10% are being verified. So all these uploaded returns is garbage in. We don't know what is going to be the impact. So if you know that it is like this, it has happened like this, maybe before September, take up this cleanup process, rectify everything, close everything out, much better. So for this, maybe our staff, see, we came here, but what about our staff? Are they trained? Can they find out all these mistakes? Are they doing this? Is there a checklist given to them? Now many things are available freely also. Please see that you give checklists for filing return. In our office, I asked them, is there a checklist? They said, yes, there is a checklist. I said, okay, give me a field checklist. There were 78 checkpoints for uploading a return. 78. I'm sure if I give it to our man, he will add another 22. Make it 100. How many of them our boys are actually seeing or putting tick, I don't know. That I have not got into till now. Delay in filing returns is going to bring you up in the camera. Audits may take place, investigations may take place. So be careful that delaying returns is not a good idea. Non-payment or in time also not a good idea. You are indicating there is something amiss. Remember, there are people who are doing a lot of things wrong, but they are filing in time and paying in time. They will never come up in the radar. You may come up in the radar, though you are genuine. So this is something which will come because of the way the system is looking at you. Adequate information to department. Earlier we used to have a thought process. We will not give much information to department. Always give less. Now I think it is the opposite. Give them enough. And when they ask for something, give clarification so that it doesn't get escalated. Once it's escalated, very expensive for the client. All this whole today's session is how to safeguard the client and make him avoid having disputes. Mitigate it. That's why we are saying what is the problem, what is the way we can do. Many audits on behalf of management can be considered. I think some of them were mentioned by him. There are a lot of audits. There can be a compliance audit, ITT audit, valuation, classification, transition. 50,000 crores is supposed to be the mistake in transition. 1 lakh crores is estimated as the excess credit taken in ITC as of today. This is all departmental estimates which have reached our ear. Of course, 35.5, we don't know when they will notify, but don't bother about 35.5. You have a whole range of other audits, I think you are aware. We have done a lot of work on that and it's open also. On our site also we have put one. Why, how, what audit, how audit is important. Oral communication causes a lot of problem. So how do we record? This is one of the common mistakes we have made because of the way we came from our past. We have a lot of baggage of the past. Everything oral, pick up the phone and try. Now department, it's good to have good relationship with the officer, but be straight. If there is anything from the officer, ask him to put in record. If you hear something from him, come back to your office, put it in record. I had come on behalf of such and such client and I talked to you, thank you for your guidance, you said the following. I asked the following questions, you said the following. Put it in record. You said that there may not be any problem. Put it. Send him. How can he come? How can he say there may not be a problem? Tomorrow if show cause notice comes, who is going to be responsible? At least this letter is on record that he said that. Because he is not going to give you this. Sometimes the department fellow calls up and says, I want this information, etc. Write to him that under which provision are you asking me, what is the purpose, I thought in GST it's non-invasive. Mention this. sometimes it's a good idea to mark your letter to the higher officer, not only to the person who is asking, mark one to the higher officer. What we have seen in the erstwhile excise and service tax regime, once we write this letter, that is the last letter for the next 8 years. Nobody will trouble you. Because they know you are compliant or you are at least confident. They don't know whether you are making any mistakes. I'm going back, is it? Yeah. Visits. Should you go to the department at all? Not in Bangalore at least. Not a waste of time to go to the department. Never go to the department. Use speed post, much cheaper, and it is non-abrasive. Please understand, you are not making the officer wrong. He doesn't know, he has a doubt. He cannot deal with you. In fact, the commissioners have told me, now I don't know what is happening, sir, you should come and train our people. Many commissioners have asked me, not one or two, at least half a dozen commissioners I met. They said, why don't you come and teach our officers? I asked them only one thing, will your officers hear? Will they listen? Will they sit the whole day? For example, today, if I was doing a program, why, even Venu's time itself, there will be only 5 people. And by the time I came, it was after 5, so then nobody. Only I had to speak to myself. This is the way the department is learning. I also told them that you have a test for them. The moment I said test, they withdrew the requirement of training. Because the commissioner himself knows he won't get more than 5. I told them, our IPCC level test we will give. IPCC level. It's a very good idea. But after that, no more discussion on it. When you are using help desk, take screenshots because these fellows want proof that their system is not working and follow up properly. If at all you are going, be straight and clear in your conversation, go back home and send him a report on what happened. Like we do minutes of meeting. In offices we do minutes of meeting. Even VC we do. Sometimes even we do minutes of call. We have a 30-minute call, you send a 5-liner saying that this is what we discussed. Do the same thing with department also. If they come, please ask for authorization. First of all, these fellows many times they are used to showing me, this is my ID. You don't know whether it's his ID also. There are people who come from Bihar and all. They'll go into some company and they'll say I am from excise department and they'll put it inside. And they'll collect whatever 20,000 and he got little short when he did Bangalore liquor. These type of things also you can avoid if you ask them. And ask them under which provision you are coming. Very important now. Because it's not, they cannot just come. They have to come with some approval. The only people who can come today, as I understand, is the DGCI. The revenue intelligence people can come. Other people, if they come, you should ask them why you have come, where is the authorization from commissioner. Ask them anyway. They may say whatever they have. Again, you have this beautiful system. Right back to him and the commissioner saying this gentleman came, I don't know, he didn't tell me, he didn't give me authorization. He said he is authorized. I hope it is correct. He came correctly. Please confirm that it was a legal visit. Send a letter. Don't be abrasive with anybody. Very respectful. We thank him for visiting and having a cup of coffee and also taking the gift and going. Gift you did not. Whatever they ask you in writing, please, whatever documents they take, please ensure that you get an acknowledgement. Many times they ask for so many things. The moment you ask for acknowledgement, they will only take 1 or 2 things. Otherwise they say, no, you give me all the files. Okay, why you want all the files? You have not explained anything and you are taking. Okay, you please give me an acknowledgement. You write that. I asked you this question, you didn't give me any explanation, you want all the files. I would like to number all the files. If there are 20 files, you sit and number everything. Let it wait. Because tomorrow if you remove some of those, in one litigation case, let me tell you, there was one document which would have saved my client 10 crores. And they came to rate to remove the document. They came and then they gave back the files also. But when I asked the client, this thing was filed, I remember 7 years back we had done. He said, sir, I am not able to find. I said, you should be able to find. No, it was there. Last audit, I remember 2 years back when I had come, I had seen that. The department had come, raided, taken all the files, and after 6 months they gave back the file. Only paper which was missing was this one paper. They had removed it. Now this fellow, where evil are they? Very dangerous. Don't pay tax to buy peace. Tax paid is gone, money is gone. Unless you are clear. Of course, if you are clear that you have to pay, then there is no question. Pay it full with interest so that you don't carry forward any liability. But if it is a litigatable issue, you think twice and also see that there is a letter. Oral advice, don't pay anything. If they are sure that there is a liability, then they will give it in writing. And what they give in writing, 95% is wrong. What they say orally, you can say 99.9% is wrong. So oral submissions never ask the client to pay. Let him not pay. Let him ask for a letter. Please give a letter. And then let them go through a proper authorization procedure for payment. You know, in many companies, for getting 500, large company, to getting 500 rupees, 3 signatures are required. But for reversing 5 crores of credit, not even 1 signature is required. 5 crores of credit that a clerk can simply reverse. Nobody will know better. Only if you go and verify and say what has happened and now, he will confuse you, show so many things, and then that's it. We also don't understand, so it's okay. Pre-audit. Audit is a very, very big bugbear. Even now it's there. AG's audit is there, departmental audit is there, and there is also the special audits. So if there is an audit, what is it that you can do? Pre-audit. Pre-audit is the answer for fear of audit. We are looking at mitigating, right? Pre-audit is you go check at least quickly. You can't check everything, so you go and check only some major things like time of filing, taxes, returns, whether any intimations have been missed being given. Seek time for the audit. You have every right to tell the auditors that we are busy now, come after 1 month. They may say, no, we have time limit. You say, sorry, I don't have anybody. Only my peon will be there. If they come, give him the peon. Peon will, whatever he asks, peon will be very, very nice with him. He will say, how sir, how real wala sir, that's all. You tell him, sir, we don't have people, you please tell me because I will then arrange for you. After 1 month you can come. Most of the time they don't insist. So you can take time for audit, do some pre-audit and ensure that mistakes are all completed. This can be done on project basis, Suddenly you put a lot of people and get it done. For us it's also a big opportunity. Pre-audit is a very big opportunity, but it comes with very less time. After the audit notice comes and they are going to come at that time, they will come to us, so you may have only a few days. Many of us, we like to see these low-hanging fruits. We know these common mistakes. There are also slides for it. In our, I don't know whether this session you have common mistakes. Common errors in each area is there? No. Okay. So it's also available. So some people, they just say, okay, let me look at these 20 things in GST and forget about the rest. Don't do that, because department may still look at those low-hanging apples. You should do that, and in addition you should go a little deeper so as to avoid any surprises for the client. There is also, they ask for SSE profile and all that. If you provide everything, maybe the frequency of the audits will reduce. Even the audit team will ask hundreds of questions. This audit team itself, dealing with the audit team itself is an art. I always say everything you put in writing. Whatever he asks, put it in writing. At the end of the day, you should give him writing and take an acknowledgement. Next day, he'll stop asking so many questions. Irrelevant things he will be asking. Give him everything. You asked for this, I gave you this. I asked for this, I gave you. You asked this, I told this. You said that this is liable. You are not saying anything else. You are not saying it's liable or not liable. You said it's liable. Now you will stop doing all this. This is liable, that is liable, we will shut your factory. All this nonsense will stop. If you give everything in writing, everything, every day you give him in writing. Whatever he says, put it in writing and give him. Tell explanation also you give in writing. Avoid long conversation with these fellows. They are not good people. Here I will say, normally I say that whenever I speak 90% I am right. In this case I will say 99% I am right. None of them are there to help you. There may be a few who are not taking money. That does not mean that he is better. He may be even worse. Fellow who doesn't take money has huge ego. So if he says you have to do this and you don't do, finished. It is going to be a audit point. So don't get into this. You say, I don't know, sir. I don't know about this GST. Whatever you say, you write, I will give it to my consultant. Whatever he says, I will finish. Don't get into any rub with them. If you have got any opinion, show it to them. That this fellow Hiregange keeps on giving all pro SSC opinions. Let him say what he wants to say. Huh? Supreme Court judgment. Huh? Supreme Court, what do they know? What a fellow is saying. No, such things you can't argue. You tell them, After the audit, please ask for audit note. If they don't give, write a letter saying that you did the audit, you simply disappear. You spend so much time, resources of ours and disappear. Write them very politely. You would like to know that everything is all right, or what is it that where I have to improve, where I have to correct. If they have given a note in reply in depth, it can be a good chance for you to not have any show cause notice. Remember, show cause notice is very expensive. It's a bullet out of a gun. Even if it is fired incorrectly, it has to hit somewhere. Or it has to lose steam after it goes for whatever, 500 meters. Here it is 5 years. So, show cause notice you should avoid at any time. Better to give explanation in writing, not oral again, in writing all the time. I have found that this reduces that impact. Say they were thinking of making a demand of 1 crore on you, they may end up making 2 lakhs demand. It's okay, you decide 2 lakhs, pay it and forget about it. You means your client. Pay with interest so that you don't have again lingering. No lingering things continuing. Submit case laws because they don't understand, they don't know how to read case laws. So give them a lot of case laws. Then you see, highlight only the parts which are good for you. In the same case, there will be some things against you, but he won't read it. So they will come sometimes with their cases. Tell them, I want to know, yes, I want to understand. Then highlight all the ones which are there. Give it back to you. If you are reversing credits, please take opinion, expert opinion, means somebody who is good. Sometimes these credits which are available credits are there and you have a demand, then maybe it's a good time to revisit. For example, now you have a service tax and excise demands may come in the next till October, right? When they come in October, you might have missed some service tax credit to take in your transition because bills didn't come, so many reasons. You may be thinking it's all waste. It's not waste. Please keep all those bills. Tomorrow if this demand comes, you can show all those. Say that these are the credits which I did not migrate to GST and therefore will adjust against those credits first. I am giving you a lot of thought process. I hope you are writing down because I myself, I don't come prepared for most of this. I just come and speak what comes to my mind and what experience touches me at that time. Payment under protest, we have talked. I think I said 5:30, but then since you all were good enough to tell me to go ahead, I have taken a little more time. I think this is what is required by all of us and our SSCs. Earlier this might have been foolhardy, but in GST, everything is in favor. So you have to only, that fear which comes, the department may do this, may do that, you have to block it and see that you are courageous. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let him come.
The income tax taxation, presumptive taxes, small caterer who is delivering meter bills and all. This turnover is exceeding 30 lakhs. He is supplies to Zomato, Swiggy, but he is not required to maintain books of accounts. But default, he supplies to Swiggy and Zomato, all credits will come through ECS. So he is now required to maintain detailed accounts because he is registered under GST also maintain detailed books of accounts, which is how to resolve this dichotomy.
Yes, sir, I actually addressed it. See, under GST there is no requirement of maintaining detailed books of accounts. See, GST doesn't say that you have to have double entry system, bank statements and all that. For GST, what we need is the section 35, whatever it says, the details of your outward supply, input tax credit, received, paid. So you should have sufficient records to say how much stocks purchased, from whom it has been purchased, to whom it is sold, what is the tax liability. Now, the contra leg of it, it is your choice whether you want to maintain it or not. But if the person whom in your client who is doing a turnover of 30 lakhs, if he has to file their monthly returns, he still has to have a methodology to calculate what is the tax liability. Since if he has to calculate tax liability, there should be some record. So the records which GST is expecting is for assessment of the GST returns. Now that does not say that you maintain double entry system or anything, which invariably is smoother if you maintain double entry. It helps the clients themselves for reconciliation.
Both of them are working in hand and glove. So once you file GST, better to go and revise your income tax. Okay.
Sir, excuse me, I have a doubt on registration.
The Residential Welfare Association, they have gone for registration in the month of June. But overall for the financial year, their turnover will be there up to 80 lakhs.
So anything technical questions other than what we discussed, maybe offline we can discuss.
We will discuss. If he doesn't act it.
One request, sir, like maybe we can have one session on Contract Act, Sale of Goods Act and Easements Act.
Madam, don't talk to me.
Please consider the request so that we can help us.
They all want to, from millions, they want to go to crores.
So you started showing us the way, sir, so we have
I am earning crore. There is nothing. Without knowing much and nothing. Without paying 1 rupee bribe.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to end of third day workshop today, and I would like to formally conclude today's session with a vote of thanks. On behalf of all the members present here, thank you sir, for both of you for a very good, excellent presentation. Big round of applause. So for Madhukar sir, we can offer only gratitude and appreciation, no memento. So one more big round of applause. So let's meet tomorrow morning for fourth day and final day of the session.